Hey guys, welcome to another amazing episode of Bahamas Island Luxury. Now, as you can see, we are not in our regular set, but I could not pass up the opportunity to have this amazing gentleman on the show. And so he came to the Bahamas for a different reason. And we connected over our love for real estate. And I said, hey, you know what? I really want to shoot some content with you. Unfortunately, he understands that everything is content, and so he obliged me, and he's actually on his way to the airport. But let me tell you all a little bit about my guest, okay? So my guest is Jeff Jackson. Now, he's a seasoned real estate expert with over 30 years of success in the luxury market in Greenwich, Connecticut. He's licensed as Jeffrey Jackson. He's closed more than $1 billion in high-end waterfront country estate and in-town properties. Known for his data-driven approach and deep market insight, Jeff has even collaborated with industry icon Barbara Corcoran on the renowned Corcoran Report. Based in Greenwich for over 2 decades, Jeff is not only a leader in real estate, but also a lover of fine food, wine, and of course, a good round of golf. Jeff, oh man, I'm so excited to this is kind of surreal for me, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Ethan.
It's crazy because we originally connected about 3 years ago. And I just remember we were in Palm Beach at Breakers, and we diverted from the regular crowd from B. Corcoran, and a group of us were at this bar, and we were just kind of talking, getting on. And I remember you just sharing with me so much. But one of the things that really stood out, you said, you know what? You should get this book, Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell.
Yes.
And I ordered it right on the spot. And I can say that from that moment of meeting you, you have been nothing but a positive light in my life, helping me from afar just kind of navigate the world of real estate. And I want to say thank you for that. You're an amazing individual. And
You're welcome.
But for those who may not be familiar with JJ, just share a little bit about who you are and what you do, man.
Yeah, sure, man. So I started in real estate many years ago. I kind of got into it in the construction end of things when I was in college. And I was very fortunate. I got to work for a builder who built very spectacular custom homes. And I learned a lot from that guy. And when I finished up school, I decided it was time to go to New York, like most of us do, and try to make my way in the big city. And that's when I met Barbara Corcoran. So my partner and I had this grand idea to database all the co-ops and condos in New York City. And we had no idea what we were going to do with it. It was the late 80s, and we built this database out for 3 years. And then one day the opportunity was there to do something with it. And that was via Barbara Corcoran and the Corcoran Report.
Nice. Oh, I mean, so from very early on, you've been a visionary, right? Like what really, I guess, inspired you to go down that road? As far as like, how did you? There wasn't a need for this database at the time, but
No.
like, why do it? Like, why create something out of nothing? Like,
I knew that there was going to be a need for this information at some point in the future, and how we were going to monetize it, we didn't know. I had this idea, and my partner's idea was a little bit different, and it evolved into the building and the sales database. And sometimes, I'm an economist by training, and math is kind of a big part of everything I do. So I was very fortunate to be doing this in New York, where everything is numbers. That made it easier. So it didn't seem insurmountable when we started on the process, but I would have never thought it would take 3+ years to build the database and then find a market for it.
wow, that's incredible. So now, talk to me, and so that you guys know, right? So the second part of the story is that if I'm being honest, a couple of years, well, maybe like late last year, I had actually considered leaving the business. leaving real estate because, as you know, I have my media company. And I spoke to Gavin, who was my broker and mentor. And he is like, no, Ethan, I think you need to figure out how you can do both. And I remember I had shared with you, Jeff, the video from my review of Tipping Point.
Right.
And you asked me, hey, how's business? And I kind of shared with you, where I was. And you immediately said, you know what? Call Sydney. Call my CMO. Help her. And then you automatically started giving me ideas. But more than that, you really encouraged me to just kind of stay with it, right?
Right.
Why take that interest in somebody that literally you met once? Because honestly, that I feel like, when I look back upon my career in the real estate business, like that is going to be a very important part of my journey, right?
Right.
But why help out somebody who, why take that interest?
Well, sometimes you can sense that the person on the other side has a passion for something and a charisma and a willingness that you showed this willingness out of the gate to do the work. And when people have a willingness to do the work, I appreciate that, and I want to be there to help in any way I can, because people have done that for me, and that's how life goes.
Awesome. And as a result of that, I did stick with the business shortly after that. And the thing is that Sydney gave me such clarity, right? Like just you giving me that access to her to kind of just, okay, well, this is what I want to do with my real estate brand. And one of my concerns was, okay, well, I'm doing too much, right? I have the fitness, I have media, I have real estate, and literally she was like, Ethan, it's just three things. And all of them can be related.
Correct.
Right? And so really that gave me the clarity that I needed to actually start Bahamas Island Luxury. And I'm happy to say that, it's a growing platform. I shared on another podcast recently that one of my videos that I did about whether or not Americans can own real estate in the Bahamas, actually, it doesn't even have, I think now it may have like about a couple hundred views, but at the time it had something like 25 views, and I got a lead for $1.5 million property in the Exomas from that video. So I was excited about that. But, just in keeping with the awesome person that you are, when I came to Connecticut recently, I mean, like literally, you gave me so much insight, but, you carried me and my wife. We had lunch on the waterfront.
Yep.
And literally you spent the day with us, showing us around some of the amazing properties. I learned a lot about Greenwich. We went to the golf club.
Yeah.
And so, you are a seasoned vet in the luxury real estate space, right?
That's right.
What does it take for one to be successful in luxury real estate?
Well, the first thing it takes is patience and perseverance. And you have to, it's like eating an elephant, right? One bite at a time. You just have to slowly gain experience, and you need to align yourself with people who are also experts, right? And you've done a great job of that with Gavin and what you guys are doing here. That's how you will get there. And you just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other over time. And if you make it your passion and you put in the work, you will get the results. It's just most people just stop doing it. You just got to keep going.
Just got to keep going. Give me so like, because I know the numbers that we're putting up now, right? And by we, I mean you, right? Like we shared some stuff,
Yeah.
like literally you're operating in the top, I would easily say 1% of brokers internationally. But did you always operate in the luxury space, or was this a gradual build-up? Like, how did you end up where you are now as literally one of the top brokers globally in the luxury market?
So it was up and down, right? So I actually started kind of at the top, right? When I started building, I started working for a builder, my first job was like cleaning up the job site. So, and then getting everyone breakfast. And then eventually it was building a house for Paul Simon. And this process, having worked with this fantastic builder, was where I got my real interest in waterfront, in high-end luxury real estate, and the nuances of building and creating product that was differentiated. And not everybody perceives the differences. And it's one of those things I learned very early on. And then I went back and I started the database business in New York. And then we started from the bottom and built it up. And then I always gravitated towards the more challenging assignments. And those are generally the more complex or the higher end properties. And that's just how it evolved. But it was a long process. It takes years.
Yeah. So, I know, yesterday, because we did have an opportunity to grab a quick drink yesterday, and we were talking about the importance of positioning.
Correct.
Right. And you gave such great insight. And I think, honestly, in addition to it being good real estate advice, I think it's just good advice, right? Like,
Right.
Even from a relationship standpoint, you want to put yourself in the best possible position to attract the best possible partner, right?
Right.
Talk to me a little bit about your, I guess, strategy behind, positioning and that, because I think that can add tremendous value to somebody out there watching.
Right. So my philosophy is about becoming the master of the subject matter, whatever it is that you do. And if you become a master of the subject matter, understanding the nuances, the market, the properties, and you study them and you share with people, and they will eventually start to come to you as the person when they have a real estate question. It's funny, I get questions all the time from people that are in my sphere or even adjacent to me. In fact, I got one yesterday. Someone's a friend of my nephew's texting me about commercial real estate in Texas. That's not what I do. But what I've done is I've created a persona that is the perceived expert in the real estate field. And if they're reaching out to me, then we're doing the right things.
That's awesome. So it's just like, because your name has pretty much become synonymous with real estate in your sphere, right? And so anybody has any real estate related question, I'll just call Jeff. He should know. He would know, but if he doesn't, I'm sure he'll know how to get that information.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. That's the whole thing, right? And we do this by sharing knowledge and sharing thoughts and being intentional and repetitive and consistent with it, right? So the Corcoran Report was one of those examples in the beginning. When we first joined forces to produce the Corcoran Report with Barbara Corcoran, I knew she had the vehicle to distribute the information, that she had the production team, she had the resources, she had the printer. It was back in the days when we were printing the reports, and these reports were delivered to every building in New York City that had a doormat. There was a Corcoran Report there once a month. And Barbara was really great with me. She wrote the inside cover, and she wrote her take on what was happening in the market, and I wrote the back cover. And we produced the report that way for a while, and it was phenomenal. It was a great start.
Now that kind of brings me to this question, because I know you have Corcoran Centric Realty.
Correct.
And Greenwich, but so have you always been with Corcoran as an affiliate? I know you worked with Barbara Corcoran on the data side, but kind of talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I ran the data business, and we provided data to lenders, and we did appraisals, and we did all sorts of other developer consulting work in the data business. And then Corcoran was sold, and I decided I was using this information to help some friends buy and sell real estate. And I thought it was just a really good moment in time to pivot after 2007. And I pivoted out of the data and appraisal business, and I started really using that information to help people successfully transact with high-end real estate. And that was the beginning. And it's been fantastic ever since. People, when you help them secure a great property, they're very grateful.
Yeah. I was going to ask, like, what is one of the things you like most about what it is that you do in real estate?
It's kind of the hunt, right?
Yeah.
I enjoy that part of the process. In the beginning, when I first started my brokerage company, I really primarily represented buyers that were looking for significant properties. They wanted to do assemblages. They wanted to buy on the water. They were looking for special things. And I was able to help find them and then structure the deal so that they could buy them. And then one day I had a client who I just helped source and buy a fantastic property. And I would give the listings to a friend of mine who was at Sotheby's in our town. And I was referring the listing side to another agent, and this guy called me up and he said, "I can't let you do this. I can't pay someone else to do this for you. You need to list and sell my property." And that was the beginning of the next phase of my business, which was, listings and representing sellers and builders and all kinds of stuff like that. So he forced me into taking the listing. Thank you, Ted.
Yeah, because I mean, that's something that pretty much Gavin preaches to me now. He's like, if you build your book of business through listings, like literally you kind of control the market, right?
Correct.
He has a saying he shared with me a while back when I went to him about some buyers that backed out. He said, "Man, buyers are liars, man." You got.
We say that too.
Yeah,
all the time.
That's hilarious. So you have a great appreciation. Well, I mean, obviously you're an expert in your market, and I dare say, throughout luxury real estate throughout the U.S., right? You have some friends and colleagues who have some luxury properties here. You know, I know that for a fact. Bakers Bay, Albany, Old Fort. What would you say, just based on your knowledge of the two markets, like how is luxury real estate different, or is it pretty much the same?
So luxury real estate has actually evolved quite a bit in the last 20 or 30 years. I had a stint where I worked for Citibank Private Banking as a consultant, and in that role, I traveled around to various markets that Citi Private Banking was a lender in, and they were all luxury markets, whether it was Florida, California, Aspen, Vail, the mountains, So I had an opportunity to follow the transactions, and that's one of the things we always talk about when you want to understand what's going on in a market or in a luxury market, is if you follow where the buyers and sellers are going, you will understand the market instead of just looking at a particular property in a vacuum, right? And one of the things that's changed tremendously is, this great creation of wealth and all these opportunities. It's no longer, I have a house in New York and I have a house in the Hamptons, or I have a house in Connecticut and I have a house in Nantucket. Now you have a place in the mountains, you have a place in Florida, and the luxury real estate consumer has a place in the Bahamas. They have, like my clients in Greenwich, many of them have 4 or 5 homes. And the Bahamas is it's a common denominator with quite a few.
Nice. Well, it's better in the Bahamas, y'all. Come and get some luxury. Get some luxury real estate. So, like, what would you say are some key things that I guess buyers and sellers are looking for at that level, right? At the luxury, like the top, what are buyers looking for throughout the process, and then what are sellers looking for throughout the process?
Right. Well, I think water is, the driving force behind virtually all of the luxury real estate. It's the view of the water, it's the access to the water, and then followed immediately by services, amenities, and quality. The quality of the product has to be there. The luxury buyer who's spending $5, $10, $20 million on a property is really discerning when it comes to quality. So you have to put the right product in the right place.
I like that. And so now, of course, the Bahamas is an archipelago of 700 islands and keys. So one thing we got is water.
You got it
right?
here.
But I'm sure this is similar because, while we were in Greenwich, we had an opportunity to look at the beach and, there were different waterfronts, right?
Yeah.
And so even with that, I know we said, luxury, we start with locations on the water, but even properties that are on the water or waterfront, like how do you classify the differences between them, and how does being on the water on maybe like a rocky shore versus maybe a beach or having a beach, like how does that affect overall, I guess, the overall deal at that level?
Right. I actually had a client I sent a property to yesterday that came on the market in Greenwich, and one of the things that we have to deal with a lot are flood zones, and there are regulations that go along with developing and buying and selling in areas that are flood zone specific. And my client saw the property and said, what's the elevation of this property, right? So the elevation is a really important element, right? This property happened to be at about 10 feet of elevation, which in some places is fine. Like if you're in Palm Beach, 10 feet is okay, because I think the whole thing is about 7 feet.
Right.
In Old Greenwich, or in Greenwich, when you're at properties at 10 feet, you're below the floodplain.
Wow.
So you have a lot of inherent risk, but there's very, very limited inventory, and everyone's chasing the same great piece of land. But you have to understand the differences and the nuances, and elevation is important, water frontage is important, how many front feet you have, how many linear feet of waterfront you have, and what kind of water you're on. You could be on deep water, you can be on tidal water, you can be on a river, you can be on a canal, and they all have they're all different influence factors.
Right. I know here, like, because we do have, like I said, we're on an island, right? Yeah. And so, you do have waterfront, but waterfront could be whether you are on the canal,
right,
or you are on the rocky shore, you're on the ocean front, or you could be beachfront, which is different.
Right.
Or you could be, you have ocean views, which doesn't mean that you're actually on the water, but you have views of the ocean, right? And so I have that. And then we also have lakes here, because you could be on the lake, or, there's really cool new luxury development called Windsor Lakes, and it's about 3 different lakes, and they're doing pre-construction packages and stuff now too. So yeah, I get that. But I mean, even listening to you talk about the differences in waterfront property just now, right? It seems like you are an expert in that, but how do you acquire that much knowledge? Is it just from experience, or is it like, let me go and study, let me go and learn, let me go and really apply or really seek out this information? Or is it just, okay, I've been doing this for so long that I just know?
There's quite a bit of information you can study and learn, but there's no substitute for experience. And that's why people need someone like you and someone like me when they go to transact. This is just, there is an accumulated knowledge base, but there's many things you can study, right? There's soils, and there's, like you were just mentioning, there's rocky beaches, there's sandy beaches. There's a lot of physical attributes that are learnable, but you've got to be around the transactions and around the properties. And like one of the things I do is I was very lucky before I became a full-time agent and I was doing data and analytics, I got to see hundreds of properties. And when you see hundreds of waterfront, different types of properties, you'll have a knowledge base that'll make it easier to understand it. But someone paid me to do that, so it was nice.
Interesting. So, we often hear and we see, people like you who have, had such great successes, right? You have a long career behind you, but you also have a long career ahead of you. I am always interested in, because so often we highlight the wins, right? $1 billion plus in real estate, but what are some or like losses. Let me know,
Yeah.
like, because I'm sure you don't get to where you are without having a relationship with failure, without having missed the mark.
Yeah.
So, can you share something that so I can know that you're a human, man? Like,
Like,
so,
like the one I lost yesterday, like that one.
Just yesterday.
we don't win them all. No. So, one of the other things that happens, particularly in the luxury real estate market, and it's very important as an agent who's entering into the luxury market, the deals are big. So when things fail, the failures are big, right? So it can be, and you have to be prepared for that. It's the income stream goes up and down significantly. You could lose one or two deals in a year. And if you lose 2, 10, 12, $15 million deals, it will completely turn your life upside down, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a luxury real estate agent isn't doing 50 deals a year. You're probably doing 10 to 20. It's probably the number. So each one of those deals, if you've got one or two that you lose, like the deal I lost yesterday was a $12 million deal, right? That's a pretty big piece of the puzzle. It's probably 10% of the business I'll do this year. But now I got to go find another one. That's all.
Yeah.
But we all lose them. We all lose them.
And so, because something else that you said, right? Like, in one of the conversations that we were having, you were talking about you don't chase the deal, right? Focus on the relationship.
Correct.
And I get it, right? But are we not in real estate to make money?
We are.
So how do you navigate? Like, do you really believe, like, do you really lead with relationships and not worry about, because I'm like, okay, well, I get the relationships, that's important, but like, how do you not focus on getting the deal?
Oh, we focus on getting the deal for sure, for sure. But the most important thing is when the deal does blow up, and this happens a lot. Every year I go back and I look through all of the deals that I did in a year, and inevitably, if I did 20 deals last year, which I didn't, I did less, but let's assume I did 20 deals. When I look at those numbers year after year after year, probably 3 or 4 or maybe 5 of those deals will be clients that were someone else's client before they came to me. And they had a bad experience with their agent, or they didn't feel they were heard, or that agent didn't give them the proper guidance in the process, or they just put the deal before the client and they switch agents. So if you always take care of your client, you will always have business.
Yeah, no, I believe in that. Like one of our core values here with the media company is customer centric, right?
Yeah.
Like always put the customer first. And, the more I talk to you, the more I talk to Gavin, I'm realizing that, success in real estate really follows the same formula as success in any other business or even success in life, right? Like you have to lead with your intentions. Your intentions should be pure. You lead from a place of service. And all of this is talking about really putting the customer first, and these are the things that really great relationships are built on, right?
Right. And if you do the blocking and tackling, as I call it, which is the understanding and learning about the values in the market and how to price things and how to negotiate, and you do all of the blocking and tackling, when the door opens and the customer or the new client to you that you've never met before is there, you're able to usher them through the door and do a deal. But you have to do both. You have to constantly be positioning yourself, but you have to be ready when the door opens.
Awesome. So, you shared so much insight, and I could literally just sit down and talk to you all day, Jeff, because you're an amazing individual. But what I want to know is, like, if you could share with me, right, like as somebody, really getting sort of my feet wet in the industry, somebody who is excited, who I really do believe that I have value to add, but I'm new, right? Like, what advice do you have that I can use that can set me up for the greatest success, and in real estate, but success that has longevity. Like I don't
Right.
necessarily want to just play the quick game. I want to play the long game. So
Right.
what advice do you have for me that can set me up for long-term success?
So I'm a database guy. And like I was saying to you before, it's all about capturing, and the databases can be the real estate, but they're also the people and the connections and the people that you can align yourself with, and how you capture everyone, database them, and then give them something of value and not sell them. And the business will come to you, and just keep doing what you're doing and understand in the luxury end of the market, there will be more bigger ups and downs, and you just have to plan for it. And there's a large degree of personalization that goes into the luxury segment of the market, whether it's the buyers or the sellers or the builders. So being a strong communicator and staying in touch with your clients and databasing everyone is gonna, over the long term, is gonna pay off.
Yeah. So what are some key touch points that you have for all of your clients? Like, is there something? I know on the Corcoran panel, they asked us like, what are some things that we kind of automate or that goes without saying? So like, what are some important touch points that I guess I should be doing with everybody in my database?
Right. So there's a lot of great tools today to capture everyone that passes through your life, whether it's this little thing I have on the back of my phone, this flow code that allows people to see what I'm doing and what my information is, and helps me capture and grow my my audience, because it's really an audience that you're building, right? We call it our sphere or whatever, but that building on that system and having people come to you and capturing them. Many people capture them, or many people come in contact and don't capture them, right? It's like I have a communication with someone and I meet them. I do everything I can to connect that person into my phone, because my phone is the place where everything starts. And my team then will build out the remainder of the contact information. And once they're in the platform, the single most important thing to do is to never stop, because people stop and then they move on, and you just have to keep going.
So just literally, it has to be integrated into the overall business strategy.
Has to be.
Like it has to be, this is what
intentional.
we do. It isn't a nice to have,
Correct.
Nice to do. This is a need to do. Like you said, operating with intention, and the intention being to really nurture this relationship.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. You got to nurture it.
I love it. So, I read off your bio, 30 plus years in the business, billion plus in sales. That's what's happened, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about what's happening in the world with JJ now in real estate.
So, I'm an agent as well as an owner. I own my Corcoran business in Connecticut, and I have 35 agents there. I have a business partner. We're building out that business. I probably spend about 40% of my time actually working on my deals, and I spend 60% of my time building the business. And that's where the future is continuing to build out the business, filling my offices up with people who are like-minded, that want to grow and build their businesses, and helping them get to those same places that we're at now. And that's going to be a process.
Oh, I love it.
It's exciting, though.
Yeah. No, building a business is exciting, and I had the opportunity. Your office is amazing. Just the things that you were able to do, even with the signage.
Yeah.
Talk to me, because I really thought that was cool. But let's share a little bit, because when you talk about building a business, when you talk about intentionality and strategy, right?
Yeah.
Like that is literally textbook. Intentionality and strategy. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of an unusual situation in Greenwich, where when people list and sell real estate in Greenwich, there are no yard signs allowed. So there's no one of the biggest marketing opportunities that agents and agencies have is to put a sign up for sale in front of somebody's property so that you see it. They're not allowed in our town.
Wow, yeah.
So I had an opportunity to acquire this very key corner location. And the building where our offices are now, the Corcoran building, that building was famous for many years as the computer superstore. There was a sign on the apex, the curvature of the building, that everyone in town remembered. And I said, wow, if everybody knows this is the computer superstore, this is the biggest yard sign I could possibly have. So when I got the opportunity to get the space, I then had to get the town to allow me to put my sign where the computer superstore sign was, and they didn't want it there. They challenged us. So we were able to make a very strong argument to the Historic Commission because it required the sign needed to be approved by the Historic Commission. And ultimately, we made a strong case. And after probably 4 months of trying, we finally got it approved. And now it sits in exactly the spot the other sign was. And it's been fantastic. I mean, it's so much better to have people experience that. And our sign is lit at night. And when you go to a restaurant downtown or you're walking around, you see this Corcoran sign lit up at night. And it's fantastic.
Man, I will say that I really did enjoy my time with you in Connecticut, right? And I mean, just walking through the office and you sharing, when you talk about strategy and building the business and the things that you're doing that I don't know if a lot of other agents or even businesses, not, even in addition to real estate, do it. But you have a very cool collaboration strategy where you collaborate with local businesses but you said something though that stuck with me. You talked about the fact that you really want to collaborate with best in class.
Correct. Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about that.
So that's a strategy, right? So we align ourselves in whatever it is you're doing. If you can collaborate and share experiences and business ideas and opportunities with people who are also perceived to be at the top of their game in whatever that game is, that is a win. You get a good experience and the people around you get a good experience. And we do this in a variety of ways through our office and through our collaborations, right? We'll have vineyards come in, and I have some relationships with some great producers of wine in California and some in Italy, and they'll come and we built our space, not just a place where we put the sign on the building, but we built a collaboration opportunity. We have a big open area where the agents can meet up. We can do events, we can do art shows, we can do all kinds of things in our space, and that's very intentional. And we want to bring in the best in class, whether it's pizza or cheese or wine or watches or any one of these items. There's an unlimited number of things you can do.
Did you guys have your art show yet?
So our art show has not happened yet.
Okay,
but it's on the agenda. I try to find someone for whom in the firm it's important and relevant to. And if there's somebody who's in the art world, and I like them to be very involved in this project, and I don't quite have the right person to move that down the line yet, but it's on the list. It's coming.
I was taking notes, brother. I was taking notes. I just think it's amazing the things that you guys are doing down there in Connecticut, and just looking at watching you navigate that and just the streets and people hailing you, and you're getting calls, and it's like, wow, like I am literally riding shotgun with the top dog, man, and it felt really good to have you let me in that world so I can see that. And it's very inspiring, bro. Like super inspiring, man.
Thank you. I'll tell you another thing that's really important in that, and you've been touching on it in what you do, which is be authentic to who you are. And when you're authentic and you're like, I'm very interested in food, I'm very interested in golf, and when I share what I'm into with people, it is the greatest generator of opportunity you can have. Be authentic, man.
I love it. I love it. Jeff, I know we could talk all day, and I know you have a flight to catch, but before you go, two things. One, I just kind of want you to leave whatever you're inspired to share. I do believe that sometimes while we're talking, so if there's something that you're just inspired to share, it doesn't even have to be real estate related.
Yeah.
It could just be life. I want you to share that. And then I want you to let the people know where they can find you if they want to follow this
sure.
awesomeness of you as well.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that was shared with me probably 5 years ago, was this whole movement that we're now in the midst of, which is AI, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that we're heavily leaning into AI and how we can use AI to give us quality of time and life and remove some of the manual tasks that just encumber and limit us. And I'm leaning into that very heavily this year. I'm looking forward to all the new tech tools and AI platforms. And we had a lot on this yesterday at the owners meeting. And I just think I'm very excited about the opportunity to take the time and put it back into quality of life that we'll get from all the hours that are going to be. I'm envisioning a life that's much freer from all of these, all of this blocking and tackling that we've had to do manually for so many years, right? And it's liberating. I'm excited about it.
And I'm excited too. So where can people find you if they want to reach out, they want to connect, they want to be inspired? Where can they reach you?
They can find me on social. I'm on Instagram. It's Jeff Jackson Group. That's where most people find me today. But you can find me in Greenwich, Connecticut, and running my business and playing some golf and eating some good food.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thanks a lot again for taking the time out to chat with me and just share as you have always been doing since I met you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right,
yeah. Good luck, man.
Thanks, man. I'm getting it done, Jeff. I'm getting it done.
You are, man. All the best.
Thanks. All right, guys, there you have it. We just wrapped up this amazing conversation. I told you that my guest was super awesome. You heard it here. He really left some really great nuggets. Focus on the relationship. It's not the deals. If you nurture the relationships, the deals will come. You want to be consistent. You want to be intentional about reaching out. You want to build your database. You want to add value to your clients. And don't forget to leverage AI to get back some of that time that you're putting out there. That was my Cliff Notes for this conversation.
Summary.
Yeah.
Perfect. You got it.
I love it. I love it. All right, guys, until next time, peace.